Hey folks, welcome to Farm Tour Tuesday, April 18th. So the wind has been so bad that I haven't been able to get any good audio, so I'm just doing voiceover this whole thing. Here we're out here with the feeders, and you can see the grass from those hay bales starting to come up. Those are all the seeds that are in the hay. And so I really love that is starting to come up pretty heavy. They're moved up here into paddock 1 like we'd said we were going to do. So we got everybody moved around where they needed to go. You can see up here in paddock 1, there is tons of grass out here now. I mean, there's tons of grass all over the farm except in those bare patches. So paddock number 7 is still real rough. These are willows we planted this spring, and so you can see they're already kicking out tons of growth. Those are the 3-year-old ones, right? So you can see the difference, and then we did lose some here last year during the drought, but you can see the difference in how much more growth even the new cuttings will kick in. This is one of our crabapple trees that we got from Forest Keeling, doing great. It's pretty well fully leafed out. One of the few crabapples from them that is fully leafed out. But, I mean, still pretty good. Like, better than a lot of it in the nurseries. I would really recommend Forest Keeling pretty well. These are some of our chestnuts from them. Unfortunately, none of the grafts survived, I think. So all the chestnuts we have in now are just from the rootstock. They had died back to the ground completely that first year. And so then when the next year, when they started to shoot up from those, we just let them go and let the rootstock take over. This is the paddock number 2, so this is where Payday came out of. So you can still see there is tons and tons of grass in there where he just came out of, and a lot of hemlock right there at the front, which I don't worry about. There's actually a post on Facebook where you're just talking about this. I've had sheep eat tons of it. I've had pigs eat some. It doesn't seem to cause me that big of an issue. It is very toxic, so like don't go out there and eat poison hemlock. But animals really, for the most part, avoid toxic plants unless that's the only thing they have available. Because it's very bitter. The alkaloids are not pleasant. And then we've got Doses little ones running around out there. At this point, they were still Doses dozen on Tuesday. So Thursday, she finally lost her first piglet Thursday morning, so yesterday morning. And so, yeah, it was the biggest one in there. I don't know what caused it. It was just laying in there dead. It was a gilt with 2 well-attached wattles, beautiful snout, and a perfect 7-7 underline with no defects. So that seems to always be the way it goes. Here's another chestnut that's doing good. And then here's our pear tree doing fantastic. Of all 4 of the trees we got from Walmart discount last year, that pear tree is the only one doing really good. So here's one of the mulberries that we'd pruned up from being a shrub that we're trying to prune into pollard, like a multi-stem pollard. So what we're doing here is removing all the epicormic branching, all the buds trying to come off along the stem. And the pigs will help with this when they get really big, but if you're out there and available to, you just go ahead and rub off everything that comes off on the stem down, like up to the point that you want it to start forming a knob. That way the plant will put all of its effort into growing just branches at the knob and not turning into a bush, because that's not what we want, right? I don't want this to be a bush like it was. I want it to be a nice set of pollards, so to be a higher top bush. So then the pigs can't really damage it. Because what can happen sometimes is if on these bush type growth ones, they can grab a low down branch and shred the bark down trying to eat that branch. And we can see here that this is a male mulberry, so perfect choice for a pollard, because leaf matter is really all we're going to get benefit off of it. This one here, you can see this is the other one we did, the other big one that we did. And its growth is starting to come in really nice. This is actually very early for us, and we're supposed to get a freeze, I think, tomorrow, so Saturday evening. So I'm kind of worried about everything. We'll see if everything survives, because a lot of these trees have put on some serious growth now. And then here's the hackberry. They're doing pretty good. These all got skipped, but I think... No, maybe I don't look up and show you what the pollard one looks like there, but it's starting to put on some. Here's just Oatmeal and Dottie just lazing around. They do still have access to this whole run. They're looking a little bit closer. Like Oatmeal looks like she's starting to develop a bag. And they're both bellies are still growing pretty good. So I think they're going to do all right. It's just taking them a little while. Here's the one we didn't prune yet this year, or we're not going to, but it's another male mulberry. And then over here we have a persimmon that had died back, and a new growth shot up last year and is doing pretty good. I think it's a male persimmon, so not a whole lot of benefit beyond shade and pollen for our female persimmons. This is what I was telling you about in last week's Farm Tour Tuesday. So this is that other one that really sucks. I try to not save back cuttings to plant out of this one because you can see the one next to it does amazing. Huge growth, massive, massive potential, and all of its cuttings react the same way. So they all grow out and leaf out way faster and way larger and do much better growing than the ones off that other one. That other one is going to wind up dying. I know it because it's every year it loses a little bit of height and drops back to some of the nubs. And here we're continuing to pull back some of these little lower epicormic branches. The pigs do help with that, and they'll get most of it. And the gate is open because I had just come through here, and I knew that the gals were in the other side. But you saw how big the growth was, right, on the fresh this year's cut willow. This is what it looks like for this year's growth on the not cut, right? So you can see how much more growth that is every year. These are some Norfolk pines or Norway pines. I think Norway pines we just put in. And then here's checking in on our little red bud. I do a lot of checking in on our plants, a lot of our trees that we have planted. This is a little red bud. Trying to zoom in and show you that red buds are a little slower to leaf out. They'll flower out, but this one's so young is not yet. These are our curly willows in the front hedgerow, our thornless honey locusts in the front hedgerow, and then this year I also seeded in a ton of other things like nine bark, downy arrowwood, tons and tons of stuff that I hope sprout up. But then we're going to lay those as a traditional English hedge in the next 2-3 years. And this was the other big thing. So if you guys saw the short, you saw that we finally got that done. I felt pretty confident that we had gotten enough stuff done that this felt justified. And then over here, we're checking in on our aromatic sumac we have planted up by the house. We are going to convert our upstairs into an Airbnb, so I'm actually going to have to cut out this. This is a multifloral rose, so, normally people wouldn't want those growing anyways, but it is now right. We like it because it's next to the bird feeders. That was an elderberry that I just looked at right there. But it is kind of blocking access where we want to put a door. This is what the willow coppice by the trash cans looks like. So it is already sprouting back with some serious growth. Within 1 to 2 months, those should be 1 foot to 2 foot tall. And then we'll go over here and check in on the little nursery. You guys haven't seen an update on some of these trees. We did have an issue where some stuff dried out, and so not all the acorns came up, or some of them are just sitting dormant and haven't sent up sprouts yet, and some have gone crazy. Here is our black locusts. You can see the ones that we stuck in vertical did fantastic. The ones we laid in horizontal did not. Our California oaks are all doing great. Milkweed is doing good. Comfrey is doing fantastic. You can see how much of the showy and common milkweed we have coming up. Absolutely love that stuff. So we planted a ton of that in the front yard too. So hopefully more of that comes up. We also put a bunch of coneflowers. You can see I've been digging up our sawtooth oaks. They're the ones that I dug up today that I didn't get to finish planting, so I healed them in. And we'll get those planted tomorrow. The hazelnuts are doing great and leafing out. I can never seem to figure out where the I always try to check them, see if I can see baby hazelnuts, and I can never figure out where on the plant the hazelnuts start up. And then here, I realized I hadn't checked in yet for the year to see how our hops bines were doing. And notice I said bines. They're B-I-N-E-S, not vines, V-I-N-E-S. And I cannot find any. So last year, with the grasshopper plague we had, they ate them down to the dirt. And they kept trying to come back, but the grasshoppers kept eating them. And so it looks like the grasshoppers managed to sap all of the energy out of them, or they just haven't come up yet for the year, which both are a possibility. If they haven't come up for the year and I still have time, I might run and go get some more rhizomes and plant this whole, because this whole run wasn't planted. So I might plant the whole run instead of just the 2 plants and try to get more going. And you can see I already need to knock down a bunch of dock and throw it in the compost. And here's all of our willows starting to come up really nice. We'll zoom in on a bunch. There's native black willow, curly willow. You can see how big that's already getting and how many stems are coming up from each cut. That was one stick allowed to grow for 1 year, then cut to the ground, and now we'll get a dozen stems easy come up from them. More of the common willow and curly, common black willow and curly. There is a big cluster of one of those pussy willows that I'd got from a friend, but I don't know the name or variety of. They're coming up pretty decent, especially since I was worried they weren't going to because the rabbits had chewed them down. And I think over here, what I'm trying to find is some of these other willows. So this is some of the willow I just brought back from Oregon. This is hooker willow. So they're a type of pussy willow that grows on the coast, on the coast. And there's some of the ones from our previous trip, not this trip we just took, but previous trip. But these hooker willows, the buds, the big pretty buds, are like the size of your thumb. They're huge. So hopefully those will survive. The elderberries, during one of these last frosts, it had knocked a bunch of them back and down. So I'm hoping, which is crazy because we have the elderberry plant up at the house that I guess was just very sheltered because it survived with tons of leaves. But a lot of these got knocked back. We are also a little drier than we should be. I feel like this spring has been fairly dry. We were swampy and muddy, but we should still be swampy and muddy. And you'll see when we get out towards the field that like the ground is cracking. So in the bare patches in paddock 7, where they had ate up all the biochar, like it's weird. We should be way, way wetter into April. And out here we've got, you can see Payday, and yeah, Biscuit is drinking out of this puddle, even though she has a nice barrel right over there. But there's Handsome Payday. So he got all 3 of those ladies. So we have had no takers yet for Oatmeal, Biscuit, Dottie, or Dose. Beyond that, like a couple people that had seemed interested and then backed, which I find crazy because I'm offering free shipping. I will deliver them to you anywhere in the country if you buy all 5 of these ones. So I don't know. If you know anyone that's interested and wants to get started, I'm asking $8,000 for all 5, and I will deliver it to you anywhere in the country. So for free. You got to pay the CVI, certificate of vet inspection, but I will drive them to you anywhere in the country. So yeah, I feel like that's a pretty dang good deal. Especially since if I drove them to the Pacific Northwest or over to East Coast, that's like $2,000 in gas. So round trip for me. But yeah, and now I thought I'd just go ahead and walk us up to the pond here to go ahead and wrap this video out. Because you guys don't get to see the pond very often. And I don't get to come up here and hang out. So yeah, I think we'll call that a wrap since this has to just all be narrated. I'm sure you guys are done listening to my voice with no background. So thank you to our Patreon supporters, Raymond and Ashley Hunter. And of course, thank you to all of you that watch our channel and make it to the end of our videos. If you saw that community post that I did, or our Facebook or Instagram, or my new TikTok account post, you know that we are getting so close to monetization. So thank you guys so much. And I hope all of you guys have an absolutely fantastic week.